Welcome everyone to Tell Me That. My name is Paul, and in this podcast I interview my dad to find out about his interesting, funny and enlightening life stories. So if you are interested in learning from my dad, then stay tuned.
Hi son,
Hello, Dad.
Are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, great.
Perfect.
Well, let's go into another episode of our beautiful podcast. I really enjoyed it, I must say.
Yeah, I've noticed.
Well, it's kind of new for me, but I mean, on the other hand, it gives me an opportunity to kind of relive my life again, and this is just great, Anyway, so in the last few episodes, I gave you an overview about my professional life so far as an employee.
Yeah.
And how I ended up in a family-owned business. Well, if I can give an advice to everybody who's looking for a job, eliminate all the family-owned businesses from your list.
Yeah.
You end up in deep shit, especially when family members also play a role in that business and they don't really have the qualification. It just ends up into a disaster, So anyway, this is what happened to me. And the result was that in 1998, I lost my job. And from a financial point of view, I was also kind of handicapped because I separated from my ex-wife. That has cost me a fortune. So without a job, broke, what can you do? I mean, become a clochard in Paris under a bridge? Well, I don't know. It's kind of boring anyway. So I thought that... why do I just not start my own business? And I had discussed this idea already with my with my friend and former partner in that family-owned business, engineering manager, who I knew already for many, many years. He was kind of hesitating, but still... He thought this idea it has some charm, and my former secretary she was fascinated from that idea, and I told you about this young designer from my former or from that company I used to work for. He also wanted to play a role in that venture. So, we made that decision. We said, okay, come on, we go for it, but we have to cross a few bridges, before we can really start. I mean, first one is we have to have a concept of a business concept and the business plan.
Yeah.
This is very important because you need that to get money from a bank, because no one of us had enough money to support a startup, an industrial startup.
Yeah, especially in that industry, it's.
I mean, you can.
Possible.
If you want to start a sales company that's selling eggs or apples or something like that. I mean, you buy and you resell,
Yeah.
So there is not that much cash involved, But if you start in a business that serves the industry, especially if you want to manufacture and sell products for the industry, you have to come up with a ton load of money to build some prototypes people, they want to see what they buy, you can do a lot of presentations, but if you have never sold the machine.
Yeah.
If you see, no one wants to be the rabbit, you know.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to buy a field-proven product, and that is kind of difficult, you know. So what we actually did is we made a calculation how much money we need for the first year, and we really went kind of what cost spending or regarding cost spending or money spending, we went really low for the cost for personnel. You know, I mean, the three guys, engineering manager, designer, and my secretary, they got a salary, which was fair. I kind of, skipped my salary. I said, well, when this business really goes through the roof, you know, then I can pay myself an adequate salary. So the first 6 months was really without salary. I had some kind of a buffer, financial buffer, and I was willing to kind of use that to survive, you know, privately. Now, concept and business plan. I spent like 2 months with my secretary writing concept and the business plan that covered the business plan actually covered the first 3 years. And it was a complete business plan, including an income statement, kind of a first balance sheet, you know, and something that the banks could use as a basis for the approval of a credit line.
Yeah.
Now, we had that done. It looked great. It was like 70, 80 pages.
Yeah.
It included, of course, the products that we intended to build, the customers that we were that we want to sell these products to, in terms of industries, but also from a geographical point of view. And we focused first on Germany and the center part of Europe. And for external Europe, I considered a potential partner, preferably a joint venture partner that also has a product that would kind of be a complementary product to our product line. So we had a bigger product line and additional sales capacity. So that was the plan, you know, I mean, plan is always different than the real life, you know. So, but anyway, so about 70 pages of concept and business plan, and I mean, to me it looked great, you know. So we went to all the big banks, to Commerzbank and to Deutsche Bank and to even the savings banks that we had. And you see, the loan would actually come from the KfW bank, which is a bank that supports startups, or that also supports startups. And you can get a loan at a very or at a lower interest rate and very special conditions for startups, you know. And besides a nice smile and a cup of coffee, we were not very successful, you know. I mean, first of all, we applied for a credit line or a loan of about 800,000 Deutsch Marks. Mm-hmm. And we had basically nothing to put against.
Yeah.
That was
There's no collateral, yeah.
Well, I mean, a bank would never give you alone on that basis.
No.
KfW, they have a special loans available for entrepreneurs that really have a good concept and that represent kind of a low risk, if they have experience, if they know the business, if they, the KfW Bank is also looking for a safe deal, So after checking with all these big banks, it was kind of frustrating, So, and there was one bank left. It was the Dresdner Bank in our hometown, which is today part of Commerzbank. And there was that young banker, I guess he was about 30 to 35 years, and a tall fellow, tall fellow, and or slim and tall fellow, black suit, a typical
banker.
Typical banker,
Yeah.
And he gave us a chance to do a presentation. And our presentation started, or included, of course, the people that want to start that business, the experience of the people, the product, the potential sales volume that we estimate, the customer base from a industrial point of view or from a geographical point of view, the strategic planning of the company in terms of looking for a joint venture partner, and that also offers additional products. And you see, important is not that we build our little product line and stick to it and try to create organic growth on that basis. This is not possible. Well, on short term, it's not possible. We were also always looking for growth. And growth means that you have to offer more products, that you have to cover bigger markets, that you have additional manufacturing capabilities, and so on. And the four guys of us, that it was kind of difficult, to do all that, in 12 months. So, that banker, he listened to that, and I noticed during my presentation that he was really listening, So he was not yawning or kind of looking at the watch all the time, He was really listening. And when I was done with my presentation, it was, for me, it felt like 1 hour just calm in that room.
Yeah.
You couldn't hear anything. And then he said, I think it's a great concept, and it is something that I'm going to help you with. However, you have a great concept, but your business plan is, for you as a manager, it's great, but the banker, he wants to have different things included. So I gonna help you to modify this business plan so the guys from the KfW Bank, they see something that they better understand. Because these guys are not managers, and they don't know anything about machine tool building, and they don't know anything about your customer base and the industries you are dealing with. They just know about money, return of investment, low risk. You see, these are the terms that they are working on. So, and I spent the following weeks with meetings with this young fellow. He helped me to modify this business plan until we had really something to work with. And then he said, so this is a super concept, a good business plan, and I'm going to approach now the KfW Bank, and from my gut feeling, I would say 90% you're going to get that loan. And in the meantime, please check for location, register your company, and do all that stuff, this footwork. So he was going to do his homework, and we had to do our homework. We went to look for location. I mean, first we had to register a company, the name of the company. And the name of the company was Westec. It's Westec GmbH, it was kind of technical sound. And well, it's also important that you choose a name that also can be easily pronounced in other languages,
Yeah.
And Westec was kind of nice. It included part of the name of my partner and my name. So Westec GmbH. It was great, So we went to the city hall in my hometown to register the company, and then I realized, well, this is Germany. Bureaucracy, unbelievable. You needed to fill out an application, but before that you had to fill out an application for the application, and it was just, and I got so mad. if my secretary and my partner, if they wouldn't be with me, I would have probably killed that guy. He drove me nuts, and he knew it.
Yeah,
and he enjoyed it. He enjoyed it.
Yeah.
The worst was one day, 5 minutes before 12 o'clock noon, he said, well, we have to make a break now. It's not much that we have to do, but we have to make a break now because now I have lunch.
Yeah.
And I said, well, it's only 5 minutes. We need 3 signatures and a stamp, and that's it. Then we can go. It won't take more than 5 minutes. No. I have lunch. Please come back at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
And, that guy drove me nuts. Anyway, so we crossed that bridge. We got our company registered and went through all the formalities. And now the second task was to find a location. We looked at several private buildings, and it was kind of, well, they were dirty and bad locations. And then I noticed that in our hometown there was a industrial area, pretty new, and they had just installed they call it a multi-business center. These were just units, each unit about 600-700 square meters, 2 stories, full floor level for workshop. And on the second floor, it was about 1/3 of the floor space with offices and sanitary rooms and all that stuff. So, well, it was a bit more expensive than we had calculated, but on the other hand, it was so representative. It had a big door for even a truck could get in there. It was brand new, so you could really invite customers. And it had 5 office rooms. We could have 1 office room as a meeting room, to discuss projects with customers. It was just like working with a big company, and it was new. It was new, nice, new carpets, and so great. So we rented one of these units, put a big nameplate in front of the place that said Westec GmbH, and we bought some furnitures, not really luxury stuff, but good, solid office furnitures. And so from that point of view, we were in business. A bigger investment was a CAD system, a CAD system, computer-aided design. And we went for the best available because we didn't go for just it'll be good enough for the first 12 months, So we really thought future. We bought an AutoCAD system, and our designer, he knew that system in and out because that was a system that he was working with for the past 5-6 years. So we had, in kind of a short time period, we had a location, we had a nice office, we had a workshop. Of course, we also bought workbenches and shelves and tooling and all that stuff, But this is something that I don't think I need to highlight, So, but we had a nice, representative, neat little company. So the second, and in the meantime, we got the approval for the loan and we got the money. And
however, what was the security for the loan, or didn't they require one?
Well, yes, a certain part. The point is, the bank that you apply the loan with, it will be responsible for like 20% of the loan, and we had to come up with something. Mm-hmm. And something means we had to sign. That was also a good deal for the bank. We had to sign life insurance.
Okay.
So my partner and I, we had to sign, 1 million Deutsch Marks each. If something happens to one of us, the million goes to either the partner that was left or to the bank. So it was kind of covered in case someone would die.
Yeah.
Then I had to come up with like I think 80,000 Deutsch Marks or 90,000 Deutsch Marks, about 10% of the loan. I mean, that was really the last money I had.
Yeah, I was going to ask, did you have that?
I mean, that was the buffer that I had, And then I even had to sign for the house of my colleague, because he didn't really come up with money, He didn't have any money, but he put his house that was paid off half, or almost half. He put his house against the loan, but I also had to sign for it to cover this, So if something happens to him, then and his wife would say, no, I don't move out of the house, and he would take a lawyer and this and that. You know how it is in Germany, you'd never get her out of that house.
No.
So in that case, they would call Willie again. Willie, you signed for the house, and you got to take responsibility and you got to pay for that. So anyway, but this was, they really took, I mean, the only thing they didn't take was the black dirt under our fingernails, Otherwise, they took everything we had,
And then you had 800,000.
I had 800,000 Deutsch Marks.
Rented the building?
The unit was rented.
Yeah.
And then we bought 3 cars.
Yeah.
I mean, today I would do that differently. I would just lease the car to have a better cash flow system. Yeah. So, but at that time we thought, well, let's buy the cars. So we have cars, and we don't have payments for the cars, and well, it was kind of stupid, But anyway, that was not our biggest problem, to be quite honest.
What about mechanics?
Well, mechanics, we also were mechanics.
Okay.
I mean, Franz and I, we were engineers by profession, which also included the capability of assembly and reassembly, disassembly of machine tools, of course, And Günther, he was a mechanic by passion, Okay. I mean, you could give him anything, He could take it apart and you could blindfold him and he put it together again. So we the first 12 months, we designed a small product line, our own machine range, our own machine line, product line, a small on-site repair machines focused on industrial valves and industrial pipes and stuff like that, So if there was something that needed to be regrind and a seal surface that needed to be relapped or whatever, I mean, small machines that could be used on site, And in addition, also small machines for, they call it flange facing. So little turning machines, if on a flange, the surface, the sealing surface is kind of worn out, so you could put that little flange facer on that valve and just reface this surface. So that was our product line, and we built little mock-ups, little valves and little components where we installed these machines onto, and we had like 12 machines in our workshop. It looked great, I mean, the mock-ups were red, the machines were blue.
Yeah.
It was just great, and we had a very nice packing for these machines, like special, very durable cases made in the United States, and they were called Pelican cases. And when you see at television sometimes, you see these cases, when people go for I don't know what, big workshops or on-site service or whatever, I mean, they all use these cases, I mean, with foam inlets, they were, tailor-made, and the machines, little machines, they fitted right in there. It was just a nice little product line. And as I mentioned before, part of our concept was also look for a partner that offers additional products, complementary products, and additional sales capacity. And in that regard, we were kind of lucky because, I had like 2-3 companies selected to talk to, but the company that actually approached us because they heard about us. I knew these people from the past, but they heard about us, that we had started a company. And so there's a vice president of sales stopped by. It was an American company, it is an American company. The vice president of sales, he stopped by, and I knew him already from projects that we did in the past. And he was so impressed, he said, this is just what we were looking for, because we don't really have a representative in Europe. Mm-hmm. And we don't really want to start our own office in Europe, But we are looking for a partner in Europe that also has similar products, that has enough room to have a demo area for our products, and that can handle the European market. So he has language capabilities and so on. And we made a presentation about our company, about our capabilities, and he went back to his CEO, and it took like 2 weeks, and that CEO, he showed up, And it was kind of weird, because first he drove by the company, and then he came back and he looked around and he didn't really find it, and he left again. And my partner Franz, he got really nervous about it, and he got into his car and he wanted to follow him, but in the meantime the CEO came back, but from the other side. Yeah. So it was a weird day. But anyway, so he looked at the company, he looked at the products, and he said, well, this is just what we were looking for. I want to buy this company. And I said, well, do you see a for sale sign here? You see, the company is not for sale. But we can talk about being your representative for Europe. Or you can buy part of the company, but the majority will still stay with us.
Yeah.
Well, is that difficult, and we are owned by a big service company in Texas, Team Incorporated. It's actually, at that time, was the biggest on-site service company in the United States, you know. And they bought this company that was interested in us as a supplier for the tooling that they needed, you know. So, and this company was this machine tool company was at that time was like a $10-12 million company. So it was not very big, but still, they were probably the world market leader for on-site machining solutions, and they wanted an additional base in Europe. And it made sense, you know. I mean, from a strategic point of view, just perfect, you know. But they didn't really have the power to make that decision. They had to go to these guys from Texas. I mean, not easy, these guys, I tell you, you know. And so he said, well, the CEO, you know, he said, well, I'm going to talk to my superior. He's the chairman of the board of this big service company from Texas. And he will probably come with me. He will probably come back with me, and he will probably take a look at this place here before he makes a decision. And this is exactly what happened, you know. So about 3-4 weeks later, these two guys showed up, you know. This gentleman, the CEO of this machine tool company, or portable machine tool company, and this big shot from Texas, you know. And he looked around and he said, well, that's great, you know. It's I could imagine that this is something that we can live with, and that would probably create some growth for us, especially here in Europe. And Europe is kind of a wide area on our map, and we got to do something about it anyway, you know. So from a strategic point of view, it feels right. So how much is your company? Well, sir, by all means, the company is not for sale, you know. Or do you see a sign here, you know, company for sale? He said, no, everything is for sale, you know, just a question of price, you know. Yeah. I said, no, this company, if you want to buy the whole company, it's not for sale. We didn't start the company 1 year ago to sell it now.
Okay, so that was after 1 year.
Yeah, it was about after 1 year. To sell the company now, you know. I mean, what are we going to do then? You know, so, well, you're going to stay, you're going to be employees, and no, I said, no way, you know. So, but I make you an offer. You can buy like 20% of the company as a joint venture partner. And he said, no. We never did that. We never, I mean, if we buy part of a company, we're going to have majority. Otherwise, no way. So why don't you keep 20% and we buy 80%? Yeah. I said, no, we're not going to do that. You know. So it went back and forth to 60-40.
But why? What was your reasoning? Because if, let's say you get a very good offer for 80% or 51 or whatever, they would have majority, but if the company grows and you get a good salary and maybe they sell it and you get a lot for your part?
First of all, it was kind of a poker, you know, and we were in a position at that time where we said either it's going to work now and it's going to be real big, or we're going to go broke, and that's it, you know, because we cannot go on like this. Yeah. With these few machines that we have, you know, it's no, we can't do that, you know. So if an American company has majority, you're going to be a puppet, you know. Yeah. You're going to be a puppet. They say jump, and you have to ask, yes, sir, how high? Yeah. You know. So this is no. I don't go for that. I have been working for American companies before, and I know how that works. And so American companies is not easy to work with if you know them and if you know American mentality. You are ahead of a lot of other people, but it is difficult, still difficult, you know. So it went like 60-40, and the end was he offered 51% ours and 49% is yours. And I said, well, sir, it is about 6 o'clock now in the evening. 6 o'clock in the evening, we all are tired and hungry. And you know what? I have reserved a table at a typical little German restaurant. They have good food, but they also have a Kegel alley. He said, what's that? I said, well, it's similar to bowling.
Yeah.
But it's the balls without holes, you know. So it's kind of challenging, you know. And he said, what? I said, well, we're going to pick you up from the hotel at 7:30. Please wear casual clothes. And we're going to go there. We have a little dinner. And after that, we're going to go Kegeln. He said, okay, what the heck? Let's do it. So we all went, I mean, my complete crew, and then this the CEO of this machine tool company and the chairman of the board of this big service company. We all went Kegel. And I tell you, we had so much fun. The food was just out of this world, just great. He loved it, you know. We did this Kegel, and he had so much fun. He was kind of going back into his early years, you know, and I think that guy didn't have real fun like that for many, many years.
Yeah.
You know, he was just in, I mean, he had this bookkeeper mentality, you know, this bean counter mentality, you know, but this was just fun, you know. And whenever he wanted to talk about the business, and I said, no, come on, tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, it's business, but now it's just fun, you know. So we spent a great evening, and the next morning I picked him up from the hotel, and we went to our facility, to our meeting room. We had a cup of coffee, and then he said something that I would have never expected. He said, well, Willie, you know, I'm going to do something now that I've never done in my life. I would go for a 50-50 joint venture. So it's 50% yours, 50% ours. So no one can do something without the agreement of the other party.
Yeah.
And with you are honest people, down-earth people. You know when to do business, but you also know how to have fun. And you are straightforward, you are dead honest. I go for that. How about that? And he reached his hand out, and I reached my hand toward him, and we shook hands, and it was a deal, you know. And it was probably the best deal of my life because first of all, he paid for the 50% that he bought.
Yeah.
He paid about $400,000 for that, which was this is what we estimated, you know, that. So we got $400,000. We had no liquidity problem anymore. So, I mean, cash flow was, for the next few months, was good, you know.
Yeah. That was in which year?
1999. 1999, you know.
Yeah.
So then we had, from day one, we had the opportunity to offer all his products, or all their products, the machine tool company products. We offer these products in all Europe.
Under your name or under theirs?
No, their name. What we actually did is, and I kind of made that suggestion, and they just loved it. I said, well, I don't want to offer your products under our name because we are the new kid on the block. You know, we are not really that well known yet, and it would take a few years until until people really know us and to reach your reputation. I mean, you are well known worldwide, you know, and I want to change our company name in your company name as a GmbH. What do you think about that? And I tell you, he had almost tears in his eyes, you know. It was just unbelievable, you know. And we actually separated as really good friends, you know. And the following months, they really showed that we all made the right decision. We had a good company. We had good cash flow. And we had a very solid basis to grow. And in our next episode, I tell you how this little company, I mean, it went off like a rocket, you know, and we did business with big players, but this is a story by itself. I'm gonna tell you about that in our next episode, and also I'm gonna tell you about a little bit more of my private life, because in the meantime, my secretary and we got a little bit closer. I mean, it's your mom.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And she helped me a lot, and she I mean, without her, I don't know if I could have achieved all that, because she gave me all the power I needed to run this business, you know. And it was not easy, you know, to manage a startup, and on the other hand to manage a joint venture, you know.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, it worked out very well. Everybody was happy. We were now 5 people, and I mean, it was so much fun. But this is something I'm gonna cover next time. And in the meantime, you all take care, and bye-bye.
Okay, excited to see how it continues. See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thank you everyone for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something from my dad. If you're interested in how his story continued, then make sure to tune in again next week for some more lessons. Also, make sure to share this podcast with your family and friends. I would love to see you again next week. Until then, have a good time.